ever wondered why some of your content converts really well and some of your content doesn't? Well, I can almost guarantee that it's because the content that is converting, and when I say content, I mean your emails, your sales pages, your blog posts, your YouTube channel, whatever it is that you're doing, it's because you've used story. And stories can be amazing when it comes to really looking to connect with your audience, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. But first, why do stories matter? Like, why should you even think about including stories in your own content? Well, here's the thing. Think back to the last time that you bought something, or the last time that you went to a restaurant or you went to a movie. How did you arrive at that decision? How did you decide to buy that thing, go to that restaurant, go to that movie? I can almost guarantee that it's because you remembered a story. And what I mean by that is you remembered hearing a message somewhere, maybe a friend recommended that you go to this restaurant because they had this amazing time. And those are the things that you remember because stories evoke emotions. And that's ultimately why we want to figure out ways to incorporate stories into all of our content. This also helps your audience remember the things that you're saying, particularly if you repeat the same stories again and again. But you might be sitting there wondering, where do I find stories, right? Like, what does that actually look like? Well, I have walked through my daily story capturing process before, and you're going to see a video popping up here somewhere on the screen for you to go and check that out. But beyond that, what else can you do? Where can you find more stories? Well, I want to give you 5 different places that you can go and find stories that you can then incorporate into your sales content, into your email content, and to anything else where you want to connect with your audience on a deeper level and you're looking to actually evoke some emotions. Well, the first place is probably one of the most obvious, but I'm guessing you probably haven't thought about it, and that is customer testimonials. And this is where you want to get real life testimonials from the people who have worked with you. And you can do that really quickly by just doing a quick outreach to them and just saying and asking one very specific question, or actually 2 specific questions. 1, what did you enjoy the most about this training? And 2, what were your results? And then you can pull snippets of stories out from that. Now, that is not necessarily your story, but it's certainly somebody else's story. And customer testimonials are some of the most powerful stories that you can use, particularly when it comes to your sales content. So go and do this right now. And I'd love to know, when was the last time you actually went and got customer testimonials? Do you have this incorporated into your own business? Comment below and let me know. So the next place to find stories that are going to evoke emotions is to pay attention to what you're watching every day. And what I mean by that is, are you watching your favorite show on Netflix? Maybe you have something that you do every single day. And this is where you can start to pull together stories. Now, this means that you have to actually be paying a little bit more attention rather than just kind of zoning out. So pick your moments carefully. You don't want to turn your relaxing time into work time, but it does kind of make you start to go, oh, how could I incorporate this story? How could I take this piece or this particular thing that just happened and include that in my stories? Now, I do this consistently with 3 of my favorite shows, and that is Gilmore Girls, Friends, and Sex and the City. So often I will relate different moments in an episode, relate it back to my audience. So this is where it becomes really easy because you don't actually need to come up with the story yourself. You can use other stories. And this is the easiest way to find multiple stories every single day. You literally cannot run out of stories if you're doing this on a regular basis. So I recommend paying attention to what it is that you're watching, your favorite TV shows, and what stories can you pull from that to share with your audience to really hit home the message that you're trying to help them understand. The next one is to kind of stay on top of any industry news. So this means means that you need to be up to date with whatever is going on in your particular niche and reporting back, right? Are there any stories that are happening, any changes that you need to make your audience aware of? That is something that you should be doing on a monthly basis, just making sure that you're up to date with all the things. And then anytime something is coming up that has like a deadline. So for example, heading into the end of the year or starting the beginning of the year, any financial things that people have to do, those are also stories, although they're not direct stories. But this is where you can share, hey, if you don't take action on this thing, this is what could potentially happen. And that is still a story. Now, number 4 is social media. Now, obviously, this is probably also one of the easiest places for you to go and find stories. So here is how you can start to build out your own kind of story bank with stories from social media. So pay attention to comments, pay attention to any groups that you're hanging out in. Basically, anything that captures your attention when you're on social media is an opportunity for you to share a story. So this also means that you probably need to be following some groups or some companies who do storytelling really, really well. I'm a huge fan of using social media to come up with different stories, particularly stories that are present and in the moment. So if you're struggling to kind of come up with something that's really relevant, social media is a really good place to do that. By extension, you can probably do that with news. So online news outlets, that's also another really great place to find stories that you can then use your own sales and marketing content. And number 5, which is probably my favorite, is to just simply repurpose. And what I mean by that is to go back through your old content. So your old emails, your old social media posts, your old articles, blogs, YouTube, podcasts, whatever it is that you're doing from a long form content perspective, go back 12 months and repurpose anything that really stood out. And this obviously means that you yourself need to be tracking that data so you can see whether your audience engaged with something really well or not. But pulling all of that together into something that you can use as a story is the best way to do that. So to recap, we have literally gone through 5 different ways that you can go and find amazing stories that you can use in your sales and marketing. Number 1 was customer testimonials. Number 2 was having a look at your favorite TV shows and using stories from there. Number 3 was based on industry news and trends, right? So your niche, what is happening? Are you staying top of mind? Number 4 is social media. And then number 5 is to repurpose old content, and specifically content that got really good engagement at least 12 months ago. This will make your life a whole lot easier. So that's your job. Your job is to literally go to those 5 different components and start to build out stories that you can use in your sales and marketing. In an upcoming video, we're going to talk about how you then take those stories and implement them into your sales and marketing content. I'll see you in that video.